One thing I've learned with age is that loving things simply because you love them is okay. Good evening, Ryan. It's Wednesday. I've always had a little contrarian within me. In fact, I partially chose Captain America as my hero of choice because Iron Man was the bandwagon choice, and I wanted to be a little bit different than those around me. But, I grew to love Cap in the end, and it's funny how that works. But more generally, I think the larger question is, why was I such a big fan of the MCU and so much less of a fan of the DC cinematic universe for quite some time? And the real answer to that question is that I was profoundly influenced by film criticism at the time. I had watched a lot of film criticism surrounding the DC universe movies, most especially Batman v Superman, but I wasn't really watching film criticism around the MCU. And let's be clear, I enjoy watching film criticism. I enjoy thinking deeply about the art that I am experiencing and watching. And I enjoy thinking about the good performances or the poor ones, the flat characters or the well-rounded ones, the ones who have growth and a genuine arc, and the ones who are static and stay the same, and whether that's intentional or done by bad acting. I enjoy thinking about all of that. But the actual experiential joy of simply appreciating the MCU for what it was, at least up to and through Endgame, was a blast. It was a journey, a joy, an experience that I was a part of. And that's a seriously wonderful thing. Yeah, I do enjoy film criticism and thinking about film in that way. But more than anything, I like movies. I like the experience of going to the movies, of having the box of popcorn and the drink and the junior mints or whatever else I may want that particular day, and watching in a theater with people who are just as excited to watch this new movie and experience this new piece of art that people poured their hearts into. And I had that with the MCU for the longest time, and I denied myself that from the DC universe. In fact, I went back and watched the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League, the 4-hour film that it is, and I greatly enjoyed it. But I'm in a different place now, and that's kind of the whole point. Eventually, the post-Endgame Marvel fatigue had caught up with me, and I began listening to the film critics' voices a little louder than the inner MCU child voice inside of me. And I grew away from it. I stopped watching because the film critics basically said that it wasn't as worth my time as it once was. And in part, I regret that, but in part, it was just a season of my life, and now I get to go back and experience this afresh. And that leads to the final concluding portion of my video. Deadpool and Wolverine came out this last weekend, and Robert Downey Jr. was announced as Doctor Doom for the next two Avengers movies. And I've never been as excited as I am for the MCU since Infinity War and Endgame days. So over the next 38 weeks, I'll be going back and watching every MCU film, one a week. Join me if you like. I'll be watching all the TV shows too, starting with WandaVision. In fact, I've already watched the first episode of WandaVision, and I watched Iron Man this week. And I mean, I've always been an Iron Man guy deep down.